From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
With coronavirus tests limited to only those showing symptoms, I'll tell you when you can get tested here in Butte.
Whether or not you realize it, you've probably seen more and more technology being used throughout this pandemic. I'm Annie Johnson with that full story coming up.
Right at 6:30 now on this Tuesday. Chet Lehman, Caitlin Corbett, Matt Elwell out there. A beautiful but warm day shaping up, and it's not going to get any better for the next day or two.
No,
anyway.
The next couple of days are going to be pretty hot. So if you're spending time outdoors, sunscreen, lots of water, take some breaks. You got my permission. You don't need a doctor's note.
There you go. Just check it with Matt Elwell. That's it.
Matt Elwell told me to do it. I'm
right.
going to get a lot of notes. Temperatures holding into the 40s and 50s this morning. It is a very warm start to the day. Clear skies, beautiful conditions though. Our day planner pulling these temperatures back into the upper 80s. A lot of areas hitting the low 90s this afternoon. Your Butte day planner, again, very hot. We'll talk about our chances of seeing showers and thunderstorms, a bit of a cool down. That's all coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. South of Missoula, the Ravalli County Health Officer is resigning in a disagreement over the wearing of masks to stop the spread of COVID-19.
County commissioners say they remain supportive of the health department's efforts during the pandemic, but disagree with the officer. MTN's Dennis Bragg has more.
County commissioners were thrown a curveball over the weekend when County Health Officer Carol Calderwood announced she was stepping down, saying she'd been given another no-win scenario as commissioners and Sheriff Steve Holton issued a statement advocating freedom of choice after Governor Bullock issued a mandate for the wearing of masks in public last week.
Well, Dennis, obviously we're extremely disappointed to lose someone of Dr. Calderwood's caliber, especially the ongoing COVID pandemic. Carol is a wonderful physician, has been, I believe, provided the citizens of Ravalli County with excellent service since she came on board as the public health officer in 2008.
Calderwood faulted elected officials for their decision to disobey the governor's directive without my input. She said masks are very easy to use, safe and cheap, and an effective way to stop the spread of COVID-19.
I mean, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I think that this situation has been difficult for anybody, or would be, or has been difficult for all the people that are in her position around the state.
At the same time, Hoffman defends the support the commissioners and staff have given the health department since last spring and expects that to continue as the pandemic drags on.
I'm disappointed in the tone of the letter with regard to, what some citizens have characterized as a lack of support for public health. I think it's been just the opposite. The county commissioners, the sheriff's office have all dedicated nothing but unequivocal support to public health during this time.
Calderwood said she had hoped to stay with the county through the pandemic, that she's reluctant to quit because of her loyalty to the county's residents and public health nurses. Hoffman says the commissioners intend to continue using her expertise as the department transitions into a new director. In Hamilton, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
Now, Dennis tells us the county's Board of Health will discuss Calderwood's resignation when it meets next week.
2 more people in Montana have died from COVID-19. A woman in her 80s died on Saturday, and a man in his 80s died Sunday at the Canyon Creek Memory Care in Billings. In the last 2 weeks, 12 people have passed away at that facility. The state health department's once-a-day report shows 88 new cases, including 34 in Gallatin County. The Gallatin City County Health Department reports after the state and shows 6 new cases since the weekend. An additional 2 cases were reassigned to Gallatin County. There are 89 confirmed active cases and 2 people currently in the hospital in the county. The new cases are located in the Gallatin Valley, Big Sky, and West Yellowstone. Madison County now has 1 new case for 45. Butte Silver Bow shows no new cases. It stands with a total of 30.
Well, as things continue to change every day with this pandemic, we're seeing how different businesses and organizations are also changing. MTN's Annie Johnson explains how that's happening.
We've done a couple of stories about how this pandemic is forcing different businesses and restaurants to adapt. Well, one thing that's making it easier to adapt is technology.
It's really simple. Just put your camera over here, it scans it, you hit the website, and it brings it right up to our menus.
Montana Ale Works is one of several Bozeman restaurants utilizing technology to adapt during a pandemic.
We also made the decision to kind of use an older technology of QR codes. So the guests that were coming into our building that still probably might not feel comfortable touching paper or any of that stuff, they could take their phone and scan the QR code,
which pulls up the restaurant's entire menu. Even local churches are utilizing technology more.
As a church, the word is we've pivoted like lots of organizations, and we've tried to figure out how to bring the church to people.
Which is where technology comes in.
We did amp it up a bit to make it more dynamic and interesting and really change our complete focus of how we do the technology side, from focusing on providing an experience for people in the room to how do we translate that to people who are watching online.
And for these two organizations, the small use of technology has created a big difference.
These small steps mean a lot to not only our staff, but also to our guests. So whatever we can do and we can continue to adapt is the direction we're going to continue to head.
Technology allows us to leverage the good news of Jesus.
The online church services and QR codes are only a few ways we've seen how places are utilizing technology to adapt, but it's likely we'll see more as the pandemic progresses. Reporting in Bozeman, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
6:35 now in Butte. Looks like they've been having too much of a good thing. MTN's John Amey tells us about the downside of asymptomatic testing for COVID-19.
Butte will follow the state's mandate to only conduct testing on people showing symptoms of coronavirus. Local health officials say the national spikes in places like Florida and Texas has caused the testing labs in Colorado and Kansas to become inundated.
Quest became overwhelmed. It's a sheer volume problem, capacity, that resulted in tests being turned around in Montana anywhere from 7 to 14 days. That turnaround time is inadequate.
Butte will only test people showing symptoms of the virus or those people that the health department have found had close contact with people with confirmed cases of COVID-19 through contact tracing.
Unless you've been contacted by the health department, you need not worry about being a close contact.
Most of Butte's active COVID-19 cases were from people who had traveled out of state or got it through direct contact with an infected person.
And then some of our cases, 5 of the 19 that we've had recently, we don't know how they got it. And so that is concerning.
The health department says that everyone can do their part to help prevent the spread of the virus by following a few simple procedures.
Social distance, wear a mask, wash your hands all day, every day. Those simple public health precautions that we preach over and over.
In Butte, John Amey, MTN News.
John tells us the health department will contact people in need of testing, which will be done at the Southwest Montana Community Health Center in Butte.
And if you're looking for a job, you might want to keep this in mind. Local photographers across the country joining a nationwide effort this week to create 10,000 complimentary professional headshots. Dave Shepard is a professional photographer in Bozeman who will be snapping headshots this Wednesday between 8:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. at his shop off Stadium Drive. The photographs are free and encouraged for those who are unemployed or underemployed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Shepard says there's a special science and art to headshots. A good one can help get possible employers' attention. And yes, they're a better option than a selfie.
You want to have an image that represents you at your best. You know, if you look at LinkedIn statistics, people with a professional image on LinkedIn get 21 times more views and 9 times more connection requests, which if you're on a job search, connection requests are what you want, right?
All bookings are free and the headshots are done online at headshotbooker.com. Spaces are limited, so make sure that you sign up soon.
It's a great service they're providing. I think
It
that's
is.
awesome.
I
Very
think,
cool.
you know, you get your professional headshots done. It really does help.
It's better than a selfie too.
Yeah.
He can do a much
Makes
better
you look like you know what you're doing.
That's
you know?
a fact, right? 6:39, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, President Trump likes the bully pulpit, and he's getting it back. Coming up, learn how he's once again stepping into the spotlight on the federal government's COVID response. But first, let's take a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, there's promising news in the fight to develop a coronavirus vaccine. The Surgeon General joins us to talk about the administration's plans for distributing a vaccine when it's available and the latest on testing. Plus, new accusations of sexual harassment against some of Fox News Channel's biggest stars. First on CBS this morning, we'll hear from the alleged victims, including a former employee who says she was raped by a since-fired correspondent. And in our Eye on Money series, Jill Schlesinger discusses the cost to students of completing their academic years online versus pausing their education during the pandemic. All that coming up when we see you at 7.